because I know I didn't explain this to you and kind of just putting me on the spot. But we're basically just talking about how, in the past, I felt I had a lot of anger towards you, and because of our relationship, the way that I perceived you growing up, I remember that I'd left the house, and in college I didn't call you often at all. We didn't speak a lot. And after that, our relationship got a little bit better. But still, even while I was in New York, you'd call and say, I haven't talked to you in a while. And I'd be like, I'm busy. I don't want to talk to you. And now, despite what you might say to our family members, we talk pretty often, right? We're on the phone every week. And I feel like now, from my perspective, the way that I see things, and I'm going to ask you for your perspective on it as well, but the way that I see things is that our relationship went from one of where I really couldn't stand being around you or even talking to you or anything like that, to now I really enjoy talking to you.
Thank you. It's nice to know.
No, but I do enjoy talking to you. I do enjoy our relationship now, because I feel like we talk about things that actually matter. We actually talk about things that are of importance. We see eye to eye on a lot of things now. And I see that, what I've done with myself had a lot to do with that. I had to really change the way that I perceived you. And it's not for lack of trying that I didn't change the way I perceived you before, because I had tried a lot of things. I tried, listening to this guru or this message or this positive thinking, all of that. And, I did something, you'll recognize this. One of our family members does this when, there's something that you don't like. It's just, I don't want to hear it. No, you got to think the other way, right?
Who does that?
So people do that. And that's what I would do, is I would just because every time that I would talk to you, every time I would get on the phone with you, every time I would see you, that feeling would automatically come up within me. And so from what I had learned, I thought that the answer or the solution to that was just, okay, now I just have to ignore her. I have to push her away. That's the only solution until I can feel good around her.
Right.
But there never came a natural point where I just felt good around you, or even if I was feeling good in a moment, I could talk to you, but then those feelings again would resurface because I still had all of that suppressed within me, all those memories and thoughts and the way that I perceived you again. I held on to it.
Right.
I just pushed it way far down, but then as I would get around you, it would be recalled up back within me. And then, eventually we'd start, well, I just wouldn't talk to you. I tried not to fight with you, but I think you could perceive when I was upset with you.
Well, either upset or short with me. I never really understood why.
Yeah.
But as a mother, we tend to bear those things for our children. I've always knew for you to be special to me, being that you are my only child. And males are not always so connected with their mothers, as opposed to maybe a female having more emotions, and So considering all those things, I just felt like, okay, he just doesn't want to talk or not. I kind of felt that you were a little bit reserved and angry, but I didn't know how to get through. So what I did was just give you space and allow you to, okay, when he's ready, he'll call.
Yeah.
And so I didn't try to control the situation or agonize the situation by continuing to call or not giving you your space. But at the same time, I feel like energy attracts energy. And so I have been doing a lot of work on myself, um, just bettering myself, being a better person, searching myself, healing from my past wounds, because we all have uh, past wounds from our infancy. And so the way that you will react to me is the way that I would react to my mom. And so I knew that I had to work on that.
Yeah. And that's actually like really interesting that you say that, because I was feeling what you felt as a child growing up. Like, I think I've told you this story before, but I remember one day where I was so upset with you, and this is when I was a child, and you were reprimanding me, and I don't remember what it was for, but I just remember being really upset and thinking to myself, like, she's such a bitch.
Oh yeah, you hung up the phone and I heard you say that as you was hanging up.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But that was when I was even older.
Yeah.
But I'm remembering when I was like really small. We were still at Ma's house, and I remember like I was thinking these thoughts, and I wouldn't dare say them.
Yeah.
But I remember you looked at me and you said, "I know what you're thinking," and you had a smile on your face. And
I don't remember that.
But you said, "I know what you're thinking," and I got scared because I was young enough that I thought she can read my mind. And I was like, oh no, I'm gonna get in real trouble here. But it was funny because you said exactly what was on my mind. You said, you're thinking I'm such a witch. And I was like, woo, woo, she said witch. She didn't know what I was really thinking, but woo, okay, but she did know what I was thinking. But you know, and really considering that, like, what I saw was that you recognize, like today I see that you recognize that feeling within me. You could see it within me. Meaning you probably went through the same thing, the same thoughts in your head as a child as well. And you could see that plainly on my face, or maybe you're just really good at reading your son.
I'm really good at reading my son and being in tune with people's emotions and feelings. I'm very emotional myself.
Yeah.
So I tend to know when people are having a reaction, an emotional reaction, or they're feeling uncomfortable. But yes, I do know you because you are my son.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad that we're at this stage where we can actually talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, I would try to talk to you.
Yeah. But what would happen?
You would shun me away and you didn't want to talk about it. You were angry with me and I knew that. But I just wanted to be there for you. And I don't have all the answers. I'm not perfect. I didn't want to fail. So I didn't want to have a child. A part of me wanted to have a child, but I didn't want to have a child so that I wouldn't fail because I didn't want to do the same things that my mom did to me.
Yeah.
And so then when I found out that, you were damaged, then it hurt me. So because it hurt me, then I knew that. I just needed to give you space and hopefully it will work out.
Yeah. It's interesting because I remember that I would try to have conversations with you before, and then it would just come into like an argument of like me blaming you and you saying, well, what could I do? Like, it's not my fault. And then like it would just be this back and forth of escalating tensions.
Right.
But because of, you know, the process that you're doing right now, the DIP, right? And also using Technotutor, because of those processes and really realizing within myself the things that I accepted and allowed and taking responsibility for those things, then I had more understanding for why you did some of the things that you did. And I also realized within myself that I was just talking I was just talking to one of our cousins about this, about how I remember when I was growing up, I said, well, I will never hit my kids. Like, I know I'll never even, I won't even punish them or anything. And then there was one day where I was watching one of our cousins over at the house, and it was just me and him, and he was much younger, and he had dropped like a cookie in the carpet over at the house in Waterford, right? Okay. And I told him, I said, pick it up. And he got this attitude with me, and he said, no. I said, you better pick it up or else.
Yeah.
And just that reaction was like something that I remember happening to me, and I just automatically echoed.
Right.
But it wasn't something that I was trying to, like, I don't know. I felt like that was the thing you're supposed to do. You disrespect me? Oh, like, I felt that, all of that within me. And I just automatically went into this, like, or else.
It's an automatic thing that we say we're not going to do to our children, but we don't have any guidelines, we don't have anything to go by. So for me, I just thought to take some of the goods and not do the other stuff. I thought I did pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought that being strict was the best route. If you're strict, and if if they come out good, then you did good. But if you're not too strict, it's like not tying the leash on a dog really tight, and then little by little letting loose the leash. But if you let the leash too loose, then you can't pull it back.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't
know. So you had this pressure or this, it sounds like a fear that, hey, let me err on the side of caution. Like, let me be over strict, and that way, I can't say, or no one can say I didn't try my best.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But now, I guess, knowing what you do now, I mean, obviously, we know more now.
Right.
I think from the things that I know now, I know I can change.
Right.
And I know that.
And let me just say this. I think that the situation that I was in as a single parent is stressful.
Yeah.
So parents are going through a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And so my patience was very short. I have to be the mom. I felt like I had to be the mom and the dad because I had to take two roles. So I couldn't be too soft, so I had to be kind of strict, take the man role,
yeah,
the male role, the more dominant role,
yeah,
masculine role. So I had to pay, we have feminine and masculine in us. So I had to lean more towards the masculine and the feminine. And so being independent, working, coming home, and then having to cook and do all these things, my time was limited.
Yeah.
So I had short fuse. So why do I need to do this? Because I said so. That's it. Don't ask any questions. Just do what you got to do.
Yeah.
These are your chores, these are your responsibilities, and this is what I'm supposed to do as a parent.
Yeah.
And so there was no room for, I don't think, of trying to have a conversation of why you think that you need to be doing something. I didn't have that growing up, and I didn't know how to do that without me feeling that you were disrespecting me by asking me that. So when you're telling your child to do something and they're asking me why, it's a form of disrespect. At least for me back then.
Yeah.
Things have changed now, and you have to.
Do you still feel like that's a form of disrespect if you're telling somebody to do something or telling your child to do something and they ask why?
No, but that's something like the immediate response. I have to take a deep breath and just say, okay, this child really wants to know why. So you have to.
Did you ever ask why to your mom and what would happen?
I don't know. There was no room for that. That's the way we were raised.
Yeah.
You know, if she said the sky was gray, but it was actually blue, the sky was gray. So you can get beat up, beat to death. She was going to tell you that sky is gray, even though you saw it blue.
Yeah.
So there was no room for discussion.
You know, while you're saying this, it reminds me how you used to tell me about your childhood and just how tough that you had it. And I never really appreciated it, mostly because I think in the context that you would tell me then, it was like, well, you're lucky. You're not getting it as bad as I got it.
Yeah.
And like I understand that. I get that. But at the same time, now I realize even more just how much you had to do or how much you had to change just to get to the point where you could be. And still, like you said, you still realize like, oh, there's still damage that was done.
Right. I mean, for the most part, I do love my mother. And in some cases, I feel like, you know, her being the way that she was, I did graduate from college.
But she was also a single mother, raising you.
Yeah.
Right.
And got a master's degree. And I think there was a lot of good things that came out of it. And as I heal from the past hurts and pains from my infancy growing up, I've taken a lot of responsibilities for, okay, that was when I was growing up. Okay, grow up now and take responsibilities for where you're now. You're not going to hold on to that. For how long are you going to hold on to that?
Right.
So there's, at some point, your infancy stage or the things that you were doing when you were, all the things that made you who you are now, you can't be holding on to that forever because it's going to keep you from moving forward.
Yeah.
So you heal from that, and you help others.
Yeah.
Help others that may be feeling stuck or not able to move past that point.
But let me ask you this: how long have you been actively trying to change that?
Since how long have I been actively? I mean, I think that I've been trying to change that for a long time, for many years.
Right. Right.
But everything is synchronicity, and everybody has their journey, and that was my journey. I think that maybe sometimes I think that maybe you give up and then you get back up on your own.
Yeah.
So that might be a point where you're like, oh, and then you go backwards because you're not moving forward because you think you don't know where to go, don't know how to get there. And so you meet people along the way that can help you along the way, or you get some tools that can help you. I think that with the DIP has progressed more of the healings and the, because every day you should try to be a better person.
Right.
Every day you should try to be better than what you are today, because sometimes people say, well, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Why do you want to be better? There's nothing wrong with you. Why not want to be better?
Well, to a certain extent, there's something wrong with this world. Mm-hmm. I mean, everyone. That doesn't mean that that makes you a bad person.
Right.
It just means there are things that each and every one of us have to work on in order to change this world.
Right.
Right? Because the world is a reflection of us.
Yes.
Right? Our society is a reflection of us.
Yes.
Right? And so I guess I see that our relationship has gotten much better.
Absolutely.
And I know for me, for a fact, that it's because of my use of Technotutor, it's because of going and using the DIP process, that I was able to kind of lift this cloud from my head. Like I see it as like, you know, I was living in this way and I was living in a fog, and I thought that the fog was real life, was the world. And now that fog has cleared quite a bit for me, to the point where now I can actually have a conversation with you as opposed to the monster of you that I created in my head, right? And I want to help other people with that as well. And I'm wondering, from your perspective, what would you tell your younger self, just knowing what you know today, or knowing who I am today? What would you tell your younger self, you know, when we were, I don't know, like 20 years ago, or more than 20 years ago? Let's go with 25 years ago.
How old are you?
I'm 28 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to know that. I don't even know how old I am. I'm kidding.
I could say it.
No, go ahead. I'll be 51 in July, so it's okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You look great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think being aware of what you're saying, being aware of your emotional reaction. It's a lot of anger and quick to say things out of anger and not breathe and just relax and let it be.
Yeah.
Because it's just not so, it's not all that. Take a time to enjoy what you have and be grateful in every moment. And thank God in everything that you have, and what you have and what you don't have.
Mm.
So if I just was grateful and enjoyed the moment, there could have been more of those moments. But I was too busy trying to do everything perfect, trying to do too much.
Why do you think you were trying to do that?
Because that's what a mom has to do. A mom has to make sure that there's food on the table, make sure you're eating well, make sure you've got your homework.
Yeah.
And then I had to hurry up and get ready for the next day. So my day was pretty much gone after 4 or 5 o'clock, and then from 5 to 9, because then I had to get up early.
So did you ever feel like you were actually in control, or you were just like trying to keep up?
I was just trying to keep up. If I actually took the time to just enjoy and let be in the flow, okay? But
How do you do that? How do you be present though?
I think I'm not thinking about the past or thinking ahead of time. Like, oh my God, it was stressful just to think about all the things that I had to do. As opposed to just, I'm done with that. It just doesn't get done.
Yeah.
It's okay. If I have a messy house, I'm just going to go after work and maybe go ride bikes with my son.
Yeah. So it sounds like you were having, at that time, a lot of emotionally driven, or like these thoughts of, this is the way things have to go, and I have to make sure everything is in its proper place, to the point where you weren't actually being present here and breathing and actually like saying like, oh, you know what, it's a mess. House is getting messy. You know, somebody can clean it later, whatever. It's funny. That's what I've seen with, you know, I always tell you about like Cameron and Max and Katie and Seneca. What I saw going over there is they didn't fret about like a mess, or about like, you know, this, like a glass breaking or something like that.
Right.
Like anything like that, where I kind of remember in our household, like I would break a lot of glasses. I was
So you were called what?
I was called clumsy.
Yeah.
All the time. I remember that I was called clumsy, muchacho de mierda, you know, like,
I didn't call you that.
no, you didn't call me that, but
just to keep the record straight.
right. But I remember that would happen often, and then I felt like I was a clumsy person. I felt like,
well, that's what was created in you.
Right.
That's what was instilled.
And
So you became clumsy because you were told you were clumsy. So
yeah.
You created that in your head. That
yeah.
You were clumsy.
And so then there was a lot of fear within me that I would, like, oh, I can't do this, or I don't want to break that, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And what I noticed with them is that they're just like, oh, that broke, well, okay, we'll clean it up, and it's not an emotional reaction about it,
right.
Or they're not even rushing to clean it up or fix it or anything, unless like it's something that like requires like immediate action. But for that, they're just like, okay, deal with it. Like it's a normal thing that happens, and they're not pushing that emotion on their children.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but what I was getting at was, I found for me, doing the DIP process, right. Doing the self-forgiveness, actually considering why I'm feeling this way, like stopping and being aware of this emotion that I'm having within me and questioning it. Just like, wait a minute, why do I feel like I have to do this, or I can't do that? And then really investigating that, and then being able to find where the source is, right. And be aware of that and stop it, for me has been very instrumental in my ability to communicate with you specifically, because a lot of my challenges were directed at you.
Right.
And so it went from us having these arguments to, oh, I see what you're saying, and okay, here's the point I'm trying to make. Don't take this personally, mm-hmm. Right? And then we could actually explain, and I had less reactions within myself, and then we were actually able to have like more and more real conversations. Didn't all happen all at once, but
I think because too, I was changing. So when you change, the people around you change as well. Yeah. Because I feel like I have a better relationship with my mom. But she's still the same person.
Right.
She hasn't done any of the DIP or any of the work
right.
within herself, but my relationship with her changed for the better because I changed. Our relationship is better because we're both putting in the work.
Yeah.
And so then you attract those people around you.
Well, the interactions with the people around you start to change because mm-hmm. you're not having a reaction towards them, like a reaction that you're not considering or thinking about. Instead, it's just like, oh, I see why you're upset about that. Let me explain. Like, I could actually communicate with you, mm-hmm. and I could actually see, oh, coming from a place of understanding, as opposed to before, when I would present something to you and you would defend yourself, which is like natural. Then I would get upset that how dare you defend yourself,
right?
When I'm telling you what it is.
Yes.
But now it's like, no, I understand why you're saying that, but here's the point that I'm trying to get across.
Right.
And so now we do have a very open communication because neither of us really react, but we're still asking questions. We're still like challenging, like, well, why do you say that? Like, does that really make sense? And we consider it, but at the end of the day, we're on the same page.
Right. So because you're putting in the work and I'm putting in the work, pretty much just working out, as opposed to if you weren't putting in the work, or if I wasn't putting in the work,
yeah,
then it probably wouldn't work out.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So would you recommend the DIP process to a single mom who's having a challenge with their son or child?
I would recommend the DIP for everybody.
Yeah.
I think self-trust, so having trust within yourself. When you trust yourself, you're convicted. You make convictions where you follow through. You have firm decisions.
And what are those decisions based on?
trusting self-trust of yourself, because if you trust yourself first, you're able to trust that the decisions that you're making.
Yeah, but are they based on emotion or are they based on
No,
principle?
principles and awareness.
Yeah,
So you've already identified what your emotional reaction. This is the self-forgiveness. When you identify your emotional reaction to a situation, and then you forgive yourself um, for allowing and accepting that emotional reaction.
yeah. And then, did you watch that video I sent you yesterday?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then the next step in that process is actually living the physical change.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's also trial and error with that as well.
Of course.
But then you've realized, okay, so I did the self-forgiveness, but it's still coming up again. It's because you didn't do it properly. So then you figure out what's missing in that self-forgiveness.
Yeah.
When something comes up, you're like, well, I already forgave myself for this. So why is it coming up again?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that being aware of everything is key to self-forgiveness, self-trust, which creates self-perfecting, and just trying to be better
Yeah.
on a daily basis of who you are as an individual, as to just living and not being aware of nothing that's going on. Things that happen, why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? You know, and then when you get to that place, you can help others along the way. Not to say that you're there, because you're never going to be there, but you can help other people.
Who knows? Maybe we might get there if we keep going another 20 years.
Right. Yeah, another 20 years for me.
Yeah.
You know what that looks like. Yeah, yeah.
You look good.
Yeah.
Black don't crack.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ma. I just wanted to share this with anyone who wants a stronger relationship with their parents or just with the people around them, because I see that our relationship is strong now. And I didn't think that this relationship could get to where it is today. I remember as a kid really loving you and being very attached to you. And then as I got into my teenage years, feeling like the exact opposite, feeling like just all this anger and rage and hate and just upset. And I felt like he didn't understand me. And
I didn't understand it. I didn't understand why you're had so many God-given talents. Right? Every parent thinks that their child is special, but I really felt that you were sent for me, to help me in my journey. I get emotional when I talk about it.
it's good.
Because I felt like you was like my angel. So you said things to me when you were 4 years old that I said, looked around and I said, who said that? You said that. But I said, no, that didn't come from him. No. Those were God's words that were planted in you to say to me. So I just felt that you still are my messenger, the messenger to help me through my journey. But so I always have a special place, and I knew that you were very special. Not only were you special, but you were also highly intelligent. You had a very high IQ, score 100% on all your FCATs. I kept them all. So I have proof.
I know. I know you did.
And so to me, being highly gifted and not wanting to perform the way that you didn't just scale through high school and didn't perform. You was in the IB program, full scholarship, any school that you wanted. Not that UCF is not a good school, but you just were like, oh, okay, I'll get UCF. Okay, UCF accepted you. Okay. And then you dropped out your second year.
Yeah.
And so I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And so I try to be supportive of your decision, even though, family members get together like, did you hear about DJ? Did you hear about, stop talking about my son? Mom's always protected. but I deep down inside, I'm like, what in the world is he doing? You know? So I did see the transition and the process that you went to because you had to find yourself and find out what it is that you school or education like most people do. So in that journey, it was maybe a long time, but you're finally reached the journey of what you're doing, that um, your purpose, that you have purpose to help other people, especially children, educate children, and see them prosper.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of you, and I'm very happy that you are happy. I wanted to see you happy, and I'm I'm happy, and I'm happy that we have a relationship that we have. You know, I can't. I only have one son, so you're my only son, and I've always loved you and always will love you. But I'm very happy for you that you are living your purpose driven life that most people would love to have, and you found that. And you didn't need a college degree to get that. So I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I have to give that credit to, I mean, obviously there was this desire within myself always to want to do something of meaning and a purpose and a desire to want to become successful. And, you know, back then I was confused as well. Like there were all these things that I wanted, but then there were all these things I didn't understand. And so for me, a lot of me being able to get to this point even was because using TechnoTutor, I was able to understand things a lot easier. Mm-hmm. And doing the DIP process that you're doing as well helped me to really understand myself and be more aware of my own emotions and thoughts and really clear that up. And now, like, the results that I got from that were so profound that of course I want to share it with other people. And that's why I shared it with you. And, you know, I see that you share it with other people as well. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that was really cool. And, you know, I see that we are helping the people around us.
Absolutely.
And I'm really excited about that because I know you like to help people, that you've always liked to help people.
Yes.
And now we can together have a really profound effect on our community, our family, even. And I hadn't actually even considered this, how we're both in the same direction, helping the people around us. And you had always shared with me this dream of like taking in a bunch of orphans and really doing good by them, you know, making sure that they felt loved, that they got a good life. And that's where, you know, where I'm heading. You know, the direction I'm heading, where I am going to, my purpose is to end child slavery, child abuse, child poverty, all of that. Because we experienced childhoods that were less than perfect. And so we're in a really good position to know, like, we don't want that, and nobody else should have to experience that. And so, like, I was given that chance to really come through on the other side of that. I have to give that to other people. As you know, the Bible says, give as you want to receive. Do unto others as you want done unto you. This is what I got. It's the most profound thing in my life that I want to give to other people. I want other people to experience this as well.
Absolutely. I look forward to our journey together.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, our journeys united, and I'm excited to work with you, my son, into achieving the goal of helping other people, especially children.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Mel. Thanks for listening. And if you like this or you want to talk to my mom or reach out to me, send me a message. Thank you.